Welcome back to What's On Tonight, a podcast with elaborate, quirky, and unpredictable conversations about TV, movies, and more. I'm Becky.
And I'm Mandy.
Today we are here to recap season 1 of the hit Max show, The Pitt. Please note this is a spoiler-filled podcast, so if you haven't watched all the episodes yet and don't want to be spoiled, just come back and check us out after you finished watching the season. So, the season is over. It was an amazing season, but I do feel a void in my soul not getting to see Noah Wiley every week. But we just thought it'd be cool to get together and just kind of go through just some of our favorite moments in the show and any thoughts we had on hindsight or review after seeing the whole thing play out. Did your mind change on anything from earlier in the season? And then hopes for next season. And then we'll move on to a couple of fun things that we did with the awards. So let's start off with favorite show moments. Mandy.
Whoa, favorite show moment. This is like...
Well, you don't have to pick one. I've got like 4 that just stood out in my head.
Okay, so I think that surprisingly, this is a small moment, but... Okay, well, first, Brainworm. Justin, big ups to you.
What up, Justin?
Because that is such a nightmare scenario. Man, they really kind of, because my number 2 is going to be another one of those. They kind of hit on all of my biggest fears for the most part in this season. Brainworm guy, or, that whole plot line was one of my favorites just because it's so horrifying and disgusting, and the idea of getting a brainworm, because what's going to happen to you after that, the best you can hope for is you become Surgeon General of the United States. Second is the degloving.
I love that those are your favorite. Like, there's a slew to choose from, and you're going with the things that freak you out the most.
Yes. I have favorite medical situations, but then I also have sweet moments and stuff. But like the degloving, for instance, that one is just because, again, that's one of my other major fears. What a strange fear to have, I know, but it's just so awful and disgusting. And ever since I learned that there was such a thing as degloving, it's always just freaked me smooth out. Like every time I get on an escalator, I think about that possibility. But I also just loved it because of that whole storyline of the lady from Nepal and how she had this awful thing that somebody tried to do to her, potentially because of her ethnicity. And she was saved by this other guy. And then Collins going out of her way to try and figure out the best way to communicate with this lady. That's one of the interviews I kind of wish we had gotten, and maybe one day, is the lady that played that character, because her confusion was so genuine, her frustration, and then just the relief and the sweetness when she was finally able to communicate with somebody who she was, and just like the look on her face when it broke through and how happy she and Collins both were. It just stood out as a very sweet moment. That moment, and when that is one of my all-time favorite moments, genuinely all-time favorite moments of the show, was when they got together and finally she got to meet the guy that rescued her.
Sam.
Because I had some fears that it was going to turn out that he was actually the one that had pushed her.
Really?
Yeah, it crossed my mind for a minute that it was in confusion and that he actually was the one that assaulted her and just maybe fell in the process. So it was a relief in an unrelentingly bleak season that just stood out as one of the sweet moments that showed human beings are capable of horrible things, but they're also capable of moments of real kindness. Let's see. Collins having to deliver that baby right after she had confirmed her miscarriage. That is another one of my really favorite storylines throughout the whole thing. But probably I'm going to go with my favorite show moment of the entire thing, my girl Santos, when she went in there and she put the fear of God into that disgusting guy that was very likely molesting his daughter, which I know is controversial with a lot of people out there, because I kept seeing all this chatter online about people saying, well, in real life, that would be horribly unprofessional and yada, yada, yada. And you don't know that he did anything. And in real life, that's probably true. But this is a television show. And they very clearly were intimating that this man had molested his daughter. And in a season where, you had these, up until that point, you really didn't get a lot of good vibes from Santos. And I kind of had a feeling that she was much more vulnerable than her persona gave off. And so, for a lot of reasons, that was very satisfying for me to see her having that moment of telling that man, I see what a piece of shit you are. Yeah. You may have fooled everybody else, but I know what you did. And I could kill you right now, but I'm not going to, but keep your disgusting hands off your daughter. So I think that was probably overall my favorite moment.
Cool. Those are good ones. Well, you got one of mine, which is when Minu gets to meet Sam. That just really, in today's world, gave me just a nice feeling of humanity and kindness and human decency. So that was one of my top. Another one, probably my favorite moment of the season, was the honor walk. It's something I'd never seen before. That whole thing was a learning experience, much like the ambulance service. I'm blanking on the name. The Freedom
House.
Yeah, Freedom House. I love the episodes where they taught us something, not just about human nature, but just about what real life things happen after you see the patient. So I loved the honor walk. I loved how everyone in that emergency department stopped what they were doing to pay respect to this young man who lost his life and to his parents. I loved the acting by everyone that had a moment on screen during that entire thing. I just think that was such a beautiful moment for everyone involved. That one warmed my heart. So that's probably my all-time favorite of the season. Then my other favorite moments would be every moment Whitaker's scrubs got defaced. When I think about this show and I think about the funny moments, every moment with Whitaker and his scrubs is there. Another favorite thing is every time Robbie got to say a big fuck you to Gloria.
Those were great.
Noah Wiley's comedic timing and the writing and the delivery, it just all her face when he would say these things. I just loved every bit of that.
Speaking of that, I loved how sometimes he would get it would be like a creepy moment, like Gloria was like a ghost that was creeping up on him. He would be like, she's behind me, isn't she? Or, run off when he saw her coming, like she was like a specter that was haunting his life.
Yes. What was it? When she popped up and he was like, oh God, you're like a bad penny.
Yes, that's exactly what he'd literally shiver, like, ugh, it's Gloria again.
That's great. I have two more. King and Dana, after she loses the mom of the sweet little lady who she's her caretaker. I should have written down these people's names and I'm sorry I didn't. But I loved her. That was one of just a shining moment for Catherine Lanasa, and to show what Dana means to these doctors and other nurses, and the beautiful words that she said to King to keep her grounded and help her pick herself up and get back to work.
Ginger. That was the patient's name.
Ginger. Thank you. A little sweet Ginger. And then my last favorite moment is when King and Mohan are together and they are working with the gamer girl. And first off, I loved that the gamer, she didn't sign on and they realized something was wrong. So they basically did like a phone chain and got someone to her house to check on her.
Yeah, which we've discussed. That actually has happened.
Yeah. And then I loved the special sauce conversation that those two had with each other about, and I think that's where we really started to see Mohan start coming into her own and owning her awesomeness. So I really liked, those are my favorite moments. Now let's talk about favorite character moments. I have two favorite moments with Santos, if you can believe. I have two. The first one is where she tells the dad what's up.
Yeah, I should have saved that for this.
I loved that moment. And then when she is working with the overdose patient from the Pit Fest, and
Mm,
she is smart, and she uses her smarts and realizes what the girl needs is saline because whatever the medical jargon was. And then she stood there and she took all that bullshit that Langdon was saying to her, which was completely unnecessary and unwarranted. And then her and Mohan prop each other up.
yeah.
Those are my two favorite Santos moments.
Well, my favorite was the moment with that dad. My second favorite with her is probably, actually, yeah, my second favorite is definitely when she was talking to the guy that tried to kill
Oh
himself
yeah.
from the Pit Fest. Just the way that she covered their dignity, like again, she could be very snarky. I going back and rewatching, I watched that moment where Giovanni passed out during the degloving incident and she rolled her eyes. It was like, and turned down. She could be so snarky and kind of not reading the room about things and come across as ghoulish and cold when she wanted to be in on like the gorier parts of the medical procedures. But little moments like that where you see that deep down she's such a caring person because she tries to cover the dignity for people that she sees that she can see are really suffering. In that moment where she very quickly caught on to like her gut, you could tell very early on, told her what was the deal with that guy. And the way that she preserved his dignity while still letting him know that he was important and that she was very glad that he was here and that she understood what it was like to be in the place that had been emotionally. I loved that. And then, of course, the end with her and Whitaker when she brings him home with her, adopts him.
Yeah.
I'm still on like, man, I would love to see a buddy show with those two.
Yeah, that's going to be part of my hopes for next season.
Yeah, that's great. When we get, I don't know where you want me to fit this in, Becky, but I started reading the Vulture recaps. I meant to do that because I usually like the Vulture recaps that they do because they're so funny. But I wanted to do it like after each episode because I didn't want to spoil anything. But I've never thought about doing it during the season. But I started going back and rereading them this week, and whoever did the recapping absolutely loves it. But I wanted to read you just this little part because I think you'll appreciate it. Okay, with people like R. Scott Gemmell and John Wells and Noah Wiley at the helm, we're in a good, experienced hands after all. Hands forged in the fires of ER. The two series are obviously going to be compared to each other, and there is that Crichton Estate lawsuit out there. But the every episode is 1 hour in one 15-hour shift framework does immediately make the Pit feel like a different beast. This is the part I thought you'd like. Dr. Robbie isn't John Carter, and I say that as a person who grew up on ER and was in love with John Carter for a period of time in her youth, and so would love to see a continuation of his story. Did you write this?
That does sound like I wrote that.
Look, this is the funny part. This is not that. Sure, the two men would get along, commiserating over the woes of running a busy emergency department, but there's enough of a distinction. For one, John Carter would never wear those slutty little glasses Robbie whips out, okay? He couldn't pull them off, and you and I both know it.
That's fantastic. Okay, that's fantastic.
Um,
My next favorite character moments, I have a few male moments and I'll just go through them. So first, Dr. King with the neurodivergent patient and how she immediately recognized what he needed and then how she actually taught Dr. Langdon something. Mel with the little sister after her sister drowned. That was, absolutely gutted my soul. And then when they saved a patient, and it was in the one of the first 2 or 3 episodes. I forget which one, but remember when she saved a patient and she was so jazzed and she goes to high five, I think Dr. Collins or Dr. Mohan, and then she goes to high five Dr. Robbie, and he's like,
Yeah.
like he didn't know what to do about it. Those are
Yeah.
my favorite. I could have basically every scene Taylor Dearden was in this season probably would count as my favorite character moments because she is hands down my favorite character. But those three really stood out.
I think my favorite moments with her are all the little times that she self-congratulated in the middle, like just how she genuinely got so jazzed and excited when she got something right. And it was the
Yeah.
first time that she had done it, like her little, like the high five and other little moments where she would just do a little real quick fist bump and things like that. I love that about her. I loved the sassy, ratchet, classy when she was singing Meg Thee Stallion
In
to
the
herself
ambulance bay.
in the ambulance bay. I loved that. I think probably my very favorite is the when she was dealing with the other neurodivergent, the neurodivergent patient that came in, and how kind she was. You could just see on her face, like, I know what to do here. And she saw how Langdon was screwing it up. And rather than like debate it, she just started quietly doing the things that she knew this man would probably respond better to and allow him to communicate kind of what was going on. It was brilliant. It was so quiet and understated. And the way that if she were an animal, I think she'd be a bee. Like she just has this busy bee
But
feel.
so important.
Bees
What
are
she
incredibly
does is
important,
so
right?
important.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of why she kind of reminds me of a bee, because what bees do is very important, but you don't think about that very often. They're just in the background going around quietly doing their work, not looking for a whole lot of recognition. And that was her. She was always just kind of in the background, just being competent. And even the very few times that she made an error, she's quickly learned from that and corrected. And she just most pure. I understand why she's your favorite character. She just most purely came across as all she wanted in the world was to help. It would seem like there was no ego there.
Yeah. I went back when I watched the first 4 episodes in a row, and I went and I was in the I don't know, I was washing dishes or something, and I was like, I'm going to listen to our first episode and listen to when our first episode, and I said to her, because we talk all the time, I said to
Right.
you when she went up and introduced herself, I was like, I love her already, and I'm glad that I didn't lose that love for her, that it just grew throughout the whole season. I
Yeah.
cannot wait to see what she does next.
I think over the course of the show, she's probably the character that had the least amount of a character arc, if we're considering that growth, because she just already was awesome when she got there. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like I don't mean that to say like she didn't become even more fascinating. Like every time she was on the camera, in the scene, you were paying attention to her, but she already came in just from the very first episode. You just could tell that she was a deeply, deeply compassionate, kind, thoughtful, but vulnerable person. And she stayed that pretty much throughout the entire season. We did see that she got a little bit more when they had to go through the mass casualty event. She had to step up and be in that leadership role in that one triage section. And so, yeah, I guess maybe there you could say that she was a little more assertive than she was in some other scenes. But just in general, I think from the beginning, she just seemed quietly competent all the time.
And I do think she grew too, because and I didn't remember as many of these. The ambulance bay I saw when I was rewatched the first 4 episodes, but she had a lot of things she had to do to that, when I don't know if triggered's the right word, but when she was like, when she was in there with Whitaker after Whitaker lost his first patient, and Dr. Robbie was trying to have his little recap moment of silence for Louis, and she, did that clap thing. And another time she like almost like she slapped her hand or something to bring her back. And then in the stairwell watching the lava lamp on her phone when Dana went to talk to her, she really I think she grew a lot there too, where she was able to not instantly, but much faster overcome the need for those calming, soothing moments and was able
Yeah,
to just push through it till she was able to wind down.
that's true.
So I do think she grew up a little bit that way as well.
Yeah, you're right. I don't know if it was because that mass casualty event just became so overwhelming, or that I just didn't really pick up on that she did actually show quite a bit more assertiveness in that event. And there were fewer moments like that. So, but it wasn't like after that was over that, like, unlike that was, it's kind of, it was a role reversal because initially and after a lot of these situations, she would need to do that to center herself, but she didn't really have that moment. But a lot of other characters who hadn't had to have those kind of moments with themselves did after the mass casualty. And she was one of the few that was like, by the time that was all over, she was just like, I need to go get my sister now.
Yeah.
She didn't have that freak out kind of that a lot of the other characters did, or crash, I guess I should say.
I have three more character moments. And I only have three more because most of the character moments we really heavily broke down in the our podcast episodes, and they're like the super obvious
Right.
ones of the season. So these next three are big, but they're not. We've beat them to death with our conversations, but I feel like I really want to bring them up again. But one is Javati telling her mom off during the mass casualty situation when she's boss bitch, and Mateo's like, hell yeah. Loved that moment for Javati. That was probably my favorite Javati character moment. McKay, two McKay moments. One when they had the patient with the mom, and she saw a lot of herself and her kid, because the mom was sober now to take care. She got sober while she was pregnant. And anyway, she saw that moment, those two, she saw herself and her son in that. And then she got the courage to go finally tell off her ex's
Chloe.
girlfriend's name was Chloe. And
Chloe.
and then her that I still am still thinking about that speech that she said to David at the end of the season, where she just said what a lot of men need to hear, that, yeah, you have your feelings, but imagine what it's like to be a woman. Those are my favorite McKay moments. And then my last favorite character moment would be when Robbie was talking to Mel at the end of the MCI, the mass casualty, and tells her how amazing she is and how glad that he is that she's there. I could go into Robbie's breakdown and basically everything Noah Wiley did. There's so much meat in this show, but we've talked about so much of it already. But those are my super standout character moment.
Just to run down through the main characters, my favorite moment with Dana was probably when she was looking around after the mass casualty event and she was like taking her photos down and things like that, and just the quiet resolution on her face that she was at peace with the fact that, now I know that Catherine Lanasa is slated to come back, so I guess it's not going to last, but that moment where she just realized that she was truly done, and you could just see it in her face. I mean, there were a lot of moments I could pick for her because she was just so phenomenal and so critical to a lot of other people's storylines. But that one for her was the moment that I was like, man, you know what? Hell yeah. And maybe it's because I'm getting older and getting closer to retirement age that I really felt that in that moment. Like, yeah, you've held this place down. It's time. Go live your life. Enjoy your grandkids. Have some peace and safety in your life. You definitely have earned it. And her face was great in that moment. I loved that. Collins, my favorite moment again was when she had to deliver that baby. Just the strength that she took, that, and the kindness and the compassion that she showed in saving both the mom and the child, and what that cost her. I loved that moment. My favorite moment with McKay Probably when she told off Chloe, because it just felt so satisfying. It would have been even better if we'd gotten to see her getting some ankle monitor action in there, or really earning that ankle monitor again. But it was just satisfying to see her get to tell off that woman, like, you're not my kid's mom, back off.
Yeah.
Langdon, I did not care for Langdon's character much. We know that, but I did love when he realized that he had been approaching the neurodivergent patient wrong, and the respect that he showed for King, the realization that she was teaching him something in that moment.
Langdon's saving grace was the way he treated Mel. I do appreciate every one of those moments that those two interacted together.
And maybe I should give him more grace, this extend the same grace that I do to Santos, because they're both kind of snarky characters. But I just think that at the end of the season, he was still very arrogant.
He had learned nothing.
Yeah, he really didn't seem like he had learned much. Robbie, my favorite moment with Robbie was when he was talking to the brother and sister before the dad passed, who had worked with Mr. Rogers, and he gave them that piece of advice of, I forgive you, please forgive me, and I love you. I think those were the three things. I thought that was, I took a lot away from that, actually. I thought that was great. Of course, there's 8 million Robbie moments that you could pick.
That's why I didn't go too deep down the rabbit hole with some of the characters.
That was really a special TV moment, honestly. Like the fact that he was honoring Mr. Rogers, the fact that he was taking, with all of this other stuff going on, it really showed who he was, that he was giving them that peace at a time when he had chaos already going on all around him. Let's see, anybody else? I'm trying to just make sure there's nobody that I feel like really stuck out that I should give a moment to. Whitaker, God love him. My last character moment that I want to honorable mention is when he was dealing with the Kraken.
Oh, yeah, that's a great one.
When he got himself, got medicated and was back in a clearer frame of mind, and he was so embarrassed, and he was apologizing to Whitaker for what had happened, and the compassion again and kindness and understanding and empathy that he gave to him in that moment. It just really showed a lot about who he was. I think those are my favorites.
I'm glad you brought that one up. I didn't think about that one, but that was a very beautiful Whitaker moment. All right, let's move on to hindsight. I have a couple of hindsights, and one is going to make you really, really happy. Going back and watching the first 4 episodes, and I'm telling you all, I watched the first 4 episodes because I did not get a chance to make it through the entire season again. Just time permitting, and there's just been a lot going on.
Yeah, that was too ambitious for both of us.
Yeah, it really was.
We could have taken it in like 2 or 3 episode chunks per week, maybe, but
yeah,
I think we did, like you said, anybody that really is going to be interested, they could go back and listen to those episodes.
Yeah. I do not change my mind on anything that I felt about Santos early on in the season. I think she was crass and rude. I didn't like her. I grew to like her. She did change my mind, and she probably is the character I think that grew the most the entire season. Hindsight, I do want to say you were right, is that going back and watching those early episodes, I laughed at Langdon's crass and assholery with him and Dr. Garcia, with his snarky comments to the students. And I was mad at Santos for the same thing. I don't think I was mad at Santos because she was a woman and Langdon was a man. I don't think that was the reason, but I think it was more because Langdon was a resident and had Winky Fingers earned his place there, and she just strolled in and was acting that way. I don't know, really. Maybe I had some kind of bias, is my point. And going back, I was wrong. He was the same level of jerk that she was.
Yeah, I don't. Well, and look, just to be very clear, I am upfront that I am biased towards women. I just, in general, I am. I am almost always going to take the woman's side and things like that. And I probably am too militant about stuff like that. Like, I will give a woman a pass for, I listen to a lot of Dateline, and in a good half of those episodes, I'm like, he deserved it. So, I have my own bias there too. I saw a lot of myself in Langdon, or not Langdon. Langdon too, unfortunately, but Santos. So that really was why I gave her more of a pass than she probably had earned in those first few episodes. But I also did sense that they were going somewhere with that. She was going to end up being more vulnerable than she was kind of letting on in the first episodes.
Yeah. All right. What hindsights do you have? Any?
I don't know if this is right in the spirit of the question, but I think it is. I didn't watch the entire thing back, but I did watch the first few. And I think that it's really incredible to see how much they ratcheted up. Like, you could tell that Robbie was already kind of a stressed, serious, suffering from PTSD individual in the first episode. But when you watch the first few and see how he's still relatively keeping it all together in the very beginning, it really amplifies where he ended up being at the end of episode 15. Like, the toll that day took on him is really something to behold from beginning to end. So I guess that's my hindsight, is just, I wish that I did have enough time to just sit and binge all 15 episodes again, because I would like to see every single episode, just the slow chipping away of Robbie's control. I'm sure somebody's done a supercut of it, and I should go and look that up, because it was quite interesting to see who he was, and like the strong, silent leader in the beginning to just the guy that you could visibly see was about 15 seconds from wilding out in that last episode.
Yeah. I do plan to, before season 2 comes out, I'm going to look at a 3-day binge where I'll do 5 episodes a day because I do want, it's just impossible. There's just no way to do 15 episodes. I do want to see it concurrently, because it was very telling to watch the first 4 in a row. And I was like, wow, feels less like, oh my God, really? This is all happening in one day. It's still a lot, but when we're waiting a week, it feels like there was a week between each episode.
Right.
So when you're watching them 4 in a row, it feels like 4 hours, and it just gives it a different, amazing.
More of like a realistic feel of, and you can really understand how that breakdown happens so quickly when you watch it all concurrently like that.
Yeah.
And I'll definitely do it too. Probably just like keep it on for the couple of weeks, while I'm working or whatever, for the first couple of weeks before the next season starts, just so that we can make sure that we kept everything all fresh in our head. And I might pick up on a million other things. Yeah, I mean, it feels like it's all still there. Like, I wondered when I went back and watched, is it's going to be like a lot? Did I forget a lot of stuff? And honestly, I didn't.
No, I was amazed by that too.
Yeah, there was very little that I went back and rewatched that I didn't already still remember. Like, I was like, yeah, that was exactly the way that I remembered it. But I think that says a lot to how great, because it was such an action-packed season that, it's kind of remarkable that I did retain, because, I feel like the thing I said a million times is I don't watch a lot of TV, because my attention span is fried. And the fact that I was as dialed into this as I was, to me, says a lot about the talent of the writing and the actors for this show.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we're going to, cover this at any point, but I want to say, like, one of the things I wanted to talk about is that what I've loved the most about this season is the interviews that we've gotten to do. The people that we've gotten to know and speak to, Justin, Alex, Crystal, Supriya, they're all just like, the time that they gave us is just so special. And it really helps me to see the show in a different light.
Mm-hmm.
And, we've made kind of friends with a few of them.
Yeah.
To find out that they're more fascinating in real life, I just don't take that for granted. I don't take for granted the time that they gave us, them inviting us to kind of poke their psyche about how they do their job and what they brought to the table and who they are as people. I hope if any of them are listening, that you understand that we value that so, so much. And it really, really meant a lot to us that you gave us that opportunity. We do not take that for granted.
No.
And it's really been awesome to get to know some of you as people.
Yeah.
And to follow your journey now.
Yeah. See what's going on in your lives. And Justin's doing his actors night, which if you're in the Los Angeles area, I highly I wish I was close that I could go and see one of the shows, but I've been sharing on our podcast page, and I got a message from him that was like, "Hey, how's it going?" And he probably got way more than he bargained for with what's going on in my life right now. But it was like, oh my
They're
gosh,
such
it's
genuine
crazy.
people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just amazing. And Ambar is.
Ambar, how did I leave her out? I'm so sorry. She was such a sweetheart.
And she's like, if we had a cheerleader, it would be Ambar.
Yeah.
I reached out to her because she mentioned that she would, hey, if I can help get you in touch with people to come onto the show. And there are other interviews that we have in the works that are thanks to her loving us so much that or loving our conversation. I don't know if she loves us.
Yeah.
Do you love us, Sambar?
It was such a great conversation, and
Yeah.
she's so interesting, and she's had such a fascinating life, and she's such a smart woman and so talented. And I'm tearing up a little bit just thinking about, like, we're just a little old podcast. We've built us a loyal following, and we appreciate every single person out there that's listening. But we did this for us in the beginning because, this was our dream and something that we really enjoyed, and we don't get paid, and we're not professional interviewers. We've never done anything like this before. And they were just so gracious and so really giving. I mean, that's the only word I can use for it. Like, they could have just clammed up or given us same answers they've given 50 other people, but instead they had real conversations with us, and that's just priceless.
It is.
I feel like several of them, I've gotten to know a little bit of who they are as people, and they're great people. And that makes it even better. Now, every time I see them on the screen, I'm like, my buddy.
Yeah. I loved when Dr. Garcia busted in episode 1, and
yes, I literally yelled Alex.
I was like, oh my gosh, I know her.
I know, but it's so crazy. I did not like Dr. Garcia because I was protective of Santos.
I was afraid of Alex when she agreed to come on. And I think I told her that. Yeah. I was a little nervous. And then you're meeting
She's so the opposite,
completely different person. And it's just wild.
And that's what a great actress she is. That I wondered, like, if I saw her character or some of, all of them really, but like, if I see them differently now that I've had a conversation or two with them, would I see them differently? And I got to tell you, Alex she is so different than Garcia that this is how talented she is. Still, I know that's her on the screen, but that is not her. Like, that is how talented she is. She is just completely channeled somebody who is very much the opposite of her sweet, loving, caring, compassionate character. And she nailed it, especially now that you know what you know about. And maybe that's my hindsight, knowing what you do know about Langdon's character explicitly. And to see that scene, like, in the first time I saw it, I was like, what is her deal? When she was getting all pissy with Langdon. When she first came in.
Then watching it back, you're like,
yes, you're like,
girl,
oh, she's had to deal with his shit for a while now. And she's just, man, she's talented. And anyway, I know I've gone on about that for a bit, but
no, I'm glad you brought that up. When we started this with what we do in the shadows and then decided to cover the pit, like you said, we did it because it was something that we wanted to do, is watch the show and talk about it. And now we have Carly and these listeners, and when we get to feedback, it's some of the same names that we've heard from all season, and that
just feels like we've made friends with people.
Yeah, like we've built a little pit community, and I'm going to miss these people till we come back for the next season. But I do want to say, when we get to, I have my little quote about strength or whatever at the end. When I picked this one, I immediately thought of Crystal McNeil and her talk to us about doing good with people. And I thought of her, and I think of her so often.
I don't think she knows what she did for us, giving us that. That was really dropping some much needed perspective that I try to hold on to when I'm feeling anxious about what's going on and overwhelmed sometimes. She did us a solid. Man, I just wish she lived closer. Hopefully we could visit her one day in Chicago. We both love Chicago.
It is very doable that we could visit her at some point in this lifetime. But let's move on with the rest of the show. Hopes for next season. Other than the wanting more backstory and curious what hope they continue to tackle real life issues that are facing our country and the world right now. Immigration. Oh my God, things happening in the state of Tennessee right now are making me sick. Immigration. I think I even saw they were talking about possibly doing like a weight loss drugs, a storyline about that. I'm very interested to see what real world scenarios they bring. And I'm also hoping that they continue to teach us about things that most of us did not have a clue about, like they did with this season. I want follow up on Paige and that creepy boss lady. The
Oh,
girl
yeah.
yeah, I want follow up on that. I want to see Santos and Garcia together again after Garcia was mean to her about what happened with Langdon.
I still say they might be dating outside of the show, outside
Has
of the
so been
PR.
confirmed it didn't happen.
No, it has not been confirmed.
Yes, Alexandra Metz confirmed it.
She did not. She said that as far as she knows, that's not what's going on. But
stop trying to make fetch happen, Mandy.
I'm just telling you, jury's still out on that as far as I'm concerned.
All right. But I'd like to see them have that drink or some more interaction between the two of them. I too want a Whitaker and Santos living arrangement. I want more of them together. And I want to see Dr. Collins back. I haven't seen any news on if Tracy Ficor is slated to come back.
I saw that she is.
She is?
Yeah, I looked it up the other day, and I can't remember if it said definite or if it is strongly rumored, but it looks like she is.
Oh, I hope so, because I missed her the last few episodes.
Me too.
So that's my hopes for season 2, my very short list of hopes for season 2, but maybe we'll do another episode closer to season 2 on the 4,000 things I want to happen. What do you got?
I want to see Langdon having finally come to terms with the fact that what he did was dangerous and stupid, and maybe get some humility. I definitely want Robbie to get some peace and hopefully
therapy
and be able to pee more frequently throughout a shift,
or a catheter, one of the
catheter, something. Just God, it was making me uncomfortable for him. That man had to hold it so long. I definitely want to see Collins back. I'm with you. Like, I had been concerned that maybe because I was so impressed with Tracy Ivacor that I really kind of looked into her life a little bit one day, and she is British. And she seems to be a bit of a conservative person. She's very religious, and she's married. And when I say conservative, I don't mean politically. I have no idea what her political leanings are, but I just mean she seems to be someone very protective of her private life and her family life. And so I had become concerned that maybe she asked to be written out of the show because it was too much being in America for that length of time. So I was really happy when I saw that it looks like she is coming back.
I hope so.
Like, so many moments in the show, having a strong Black female lead. I love that. We talk a lot about the great thing about the show is that they do diversity right, because they genuinely show what America looks like today. And it's not like it's shoehorning in one character here and there just because you feel like you have to fill a quota. And so it was just refreshing to see, when I've had so many Black female medical professionals in my life, it's shocking how few of them are on television even today. So I loved that she did that role and killed it. Basically, my biggest hope is I need to know more about Myrna. I need Myrna to come back, and I need to know, what was she doing when she had the stroke? What is Myrna's life like outside of that place? What is she doing? Is she living like some kind of Ocean's 11 type heist deals, or what? I need more Myrna in my life.
I want more Myrna in season 2. I really do. But I genuinely want them to give us the tiniest.
You just like her to be sprinkled in and stay an enigma.
But yes, because that's what makes Myrna amazing.
That is true.
She just popped up at the end of this episode looking fly AF, and cops are bringing her back in.
She's had a seizure. Why? Where? How'd she get out?
Yeah, she just hit on Dr. Abbott. That's all I need. I'll figure out the rest because I think us and our listeners put together an amazing backstory for Myrna. So that I do want more Myrna, but I hope they keep Myrna a little bit of give us a little bit, but don't give us too much.
Yeah, you're right. It is more fun to create more of the backstory for her, but God, she's at least tell us the fruitcake story.
Yeah, they definitely need to give us fruitcake for sure. Okay, so that is are you good? Is that everything?
Yeah, good.
On the season 1 and hopes for season 2. Let's move on.
Wait, I have one more. Please get McKay out of that fucking ankle monitor.
I need that shit to be over. I need her to be free of Chloe. I need her to be free of Chad. I need her to be watching Are They Really Horror Movie? With Harrison.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, now you can move on.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, I love you. All right. So now Mandy and I were discussing what we could do with this recap to have a little bit of fun. And since we don't know what the TV award season is going to turn out like, so we decided to make our own awards. So we want to welcome you to the first ever What's On Tonight Pitt Award show section of the podcast.
Should I do a theme song?
Oh my God. Yes, please.
The Pitties. Welcome to the Pitt Awards. We've got stress. We've got blood. We've got gross medical things galore. The Pitties.
Myrna. Y'all are welcome. You are welcome. Thank you, Mandy. That was beautiful.
You're welcome.
I'm saving that for next year, too. We submitted categories on both Facebook and Instagram, and I was really thrilled with the number of people that took the time to vote. I was very nervous, like one person would vote, but y'all came through, and thank you for that. So let's get to it.
That was a drum roll.
I figured.
It was a good drum roll.
That was great.
I really wish that I'd put on like a prom dress or something, like gussied up to hand out these awards.
I know.
You guys just pretend I'm in a fabulous gown and I'm standing up here with like Ricardo Montalban.
I'm with Noah Wiley. He was my escort for the evening.
Right on. Favorite patient category. The nominees are Myrna, Earl, Louie.
And the winner is by a landslide. Myrna!
Woo! Everybody loves them some Myrna. Don't get me wrong, I loved Earl and Louie too. And there were several others that could have been in that category. There were some really great patients.
I will say Maureen did give an honorable mention in the comments of this particular category of the guy that lost the tip of his pinky finger and was hitting on Dr. Collins.
Yeah.
She did bring him up, and I agree, but
he was a cutie. Well, I think that Brainworm guy, Justin's character, really, we need to give him an honorable mention as well.
Absolutely.
Definitely Myrna.
Yeah, none of y'all would have stood a chance against Myrna.
Yeah. And if you had, she'd have cut your bitch ass. So
yeah, you would have been put through a meat grinder. So be glad.
Be glad that Myrna won. Okay.
All right, next category.
Best villain category. The nominees are Dr. Langdon, Dr. Santos, Dr. Garcia, and Gloria.
And the winner is, again, by a landslide, Gloria. Read the room, Gloria.
Everybody hates you, Gloria.
We're not calling Gloria. So yeah, there were a few votes for each of the other characters, but Gloria, she definitely won, and I'm glad because she's the worst.
Yeah, sorry to that actress. You did a wonderful job of making everyone hate you.
Yeah.
And,
And we'd love to talk to you about that one day if you want.
completely oblivious to what was going on, overly bootlicking to your higher ups, not thinking about traumas that your doctors are going through. Grossest moment category. The nominees are degloving, baseball player eye procedure. Oh my God, I forgot about that one. Birth scene.
And the winner is, surprising me, is the baseball player eye procedure.
Really? That was.
I really thought that was going to go to degloving.
I definitely thought it was going to go to degloving. Oh my God, that was the grossest thing. To me, that was by far the grossest.
I personally think that the eye procedure was grosser because it had to do with the eyeball and oh God. Anyway, but I am glad that not one person voted for the birth scene. So
Me
that means
too.
everybody's either cool with seeing a natural, beautiful thing happen. Beautiful, that's not the right word. A natural
Well, it's kind of beautiful.
miracle.
It's horrible and disgusting and scary.
It's not beautiful in the physical sense, but it's beautiful in the wow, look what a woman can do sense.
Right. That's the thing. Like, I'm very proud of all of our voters for not going with that, because I think that was one of the most remarkable moments in a very remarkable television series, because no one shows it like that. It's Mother's Day today as we're recording. We talk a lot about mothers, and we think of the sweet, take your mom some flowers, and moms are sweet and fun, and they make your dinner and they pack your lunch and they all that stuff. People do not give women enough credit for how incredibly dangerous childbirth can be. Everybody listening, thank your mother for what she had to go through to bring you into this world. I, like everybody else in that moment, was like, whoa, are they really showing that? But then immediately, and it sounds like most people too, were like, you know what? Hell yeah. When we've got women losing the right to access to their own health care in this country, and decisions being made by people who do not have a uterus and will never give birth, I thought it was incredibly brave and awesome that they showed that.
All right. Well, on that happy note, let's move on to the next category, which is
played right
see
into
what I did there?
saddest moment category. The nominees are Honor Walk, drowning victim, Collins' miscarriage, Whitaker loses his first patient.
I'm not going to do a drum roll on this one because it's super sad category, but the winner was the drowning victim.
Yeah, that's the one I voted for.
Yeah, same.
Honor Walk was very sad, but
it was also so powerful and beautiful, the Honor Walk. It was so sad, but it was also amazing. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Losing
no,
a
you
life
are, because there was at least a little bit of the hopefulness of the fact that he was going
to
body
save
parts
so
were
many
gonna-
lives.
right. But that little girl losing her life just is such a senseless tragedy.
And every actor in that room showing their emotions, and it just was, the whole thing was so well put together.
Yeah. And, as a parent, you can't put your head. I'm not even going to go too far down this line of thought. We'll move on from this because I can't think about it too much without just it destroying me. But I can't, I can't even imagine, we talk about, like, in the real world, this show shows what doctors go through and the traumas that they go through and whatnot. Confident, we've talked to some of the people from the show, and we know of at least one person who's had a very similar situation in their life. We've heard, that there were other people in the cast that had moments like that they have experienced in real life. I can't imagine the trauma they went through just filming that episode. Even though it's acting, it was so heavy, man.
Yeah.
I think that the audience got it right on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Best storyline category. The nominees are Langdon's drug addiction, Robbie's PTSD, or the Pitt Fest MCI.
And the winner is the Pitt Fest MCI.
Yeah.
All three of these storylines, and there were a lot of great storylines to choose from, but I think these three were the most talked about throughout the season. And I really thought Robbie's PTSD was going to win out.
I did too.
it did get a good amount of votes, but Pitfest MCI was the one that most everyone enjoyed the most. Not enjoyed. That's just wrong words for these things.
It's just hard,
but
because it is a TV show, so you are watching it because you enjoy it to some degree, but it's really hard to talk about enjoying something when you're discussing such a
a mass
realistic.
casualty. Yeah.
I hope everybody listened to our talk with Supriya Ganesh, and she answered a question that I personally had, which is, what did they base this on? And it was the mass casualty shooting in the casino in Las Vegas a few years back, because they're just, unfortunately, this kind of violence is so prevalent in the United States. Thankfully, on that scale, it's still pretty rare. But yeah, man, that was just so much. You're already just like, how much more can these people take? And then bam, the doors get blown off. It was mind numbing.
It was intense.
Yeah. Okay. Best duo category. The nominees are King and Whitaker, Perla and Princess, and Javadi and McKay.
And the winner is King and Whitaker.
Oh, that was a good one. Those are the two sweetest people in the show. So I could see why. I personally liked Perla and Princess because
they're amazing.
I love them, man. Would it not be great if we could get both of them on at one time?
Yes.
Sometime and interview them. Those two actresses did such a great job together. I loved them. But King and Whitaker are also awesome.
Yeah, they won by a landslide.
Really?
Yep.
That's very cool. My vote is still Pearl and Princess, but I understand that absolutely because they were a great duo. Best Doctor category. The nominees are Dr. Robbie, Dr. Collins, and Dr. Abbott.
And the winner is, by a landslide, guess who?
It's Dr. Robbie, isn't it?
Dr. Robbie.
Dr.
Abbott only got one vote.
Really? I think it was me. I think I voted.
No, you voted for Collins.
Oh, did I? Oh, I don't know why, because honestly, I think Dr. Abbott ended up being my favorite. I like Dr. Collins a lot, but Dr. Abbott really ended up being my favorite. He was a hoot.
Yeah, I think if I had to phrase this category favorite doctor,
yeah,
it might have gone differently.
But I think that is why, because I do think that out of the three, as far as like who helped it together and was the most rational and the doctor that I want, it would be Dr. Collins.
Yeah. All right.
Here we are, guys. The big one, folks. The favorite character category. The nominees are Dr. Mohan, Dr. Robbie, Dr. King, Dr. Santos, Dr. Abbott, or Dana.
And the winner is, y'all, we have a tie.
What?
Dr. Robbie.
Which I thought would be a landslide.
Dr. King.
Yay. Well, that tracks.
Yes.
Yeah.
I completely agree. All of them are amazing. All characters on the show, not all characters are amazing, but all are worthy of this award. But we had to go with what the people say, and the people agree with me that Dr. King and Dr. Robbie are the best. So that, ladies and gentlemen, was the 2025 What's On Tonight Pitt Awards. Please tune in next year when we will be back with even bigger and better categories. So thank you all for playing, and good night.
Next year, maybe we can get John Mulaney to host.
Oh my God, no. You know who we're going to get to host next year? Justin Wayne.
Yes, that was my second. That was actually, as I was saying that, I was thinking that would be great. That would be awesome. I bet he would do it too.
Yes, and we're going to make it big. It's going to be bigger and even crazier.
That's funny. You know what? I almost texted you this morning and said, hey, last minute, do you think Justin would jump on? But then I thought there was no, because I thought this would be a real fun episode to do with him.
I wanted to ask him, but he's full on into Actors Night.
Right.
So we will get him on
He's just a fun guy, man.
He said he would come on and do an episode with us. So I'm going to hold him to that.
Yeah. Hopefully maybe next season, if at least that one episode, we can get him on.
And he's got to host the Pitt Awards. So
that's what I meant. Like if we can't, I'd love to have him on for any episode.
For that episode, I see what you said. Yeah. I'm gonna try to get him for 2. Let's see what happens. All right. Seriously, that was fun. Thank y'all for playing. And we're going to head into show notes and news. There is a lot of stuff, but most of it we've already covered through our last few episodes on what season 2 looks like, when season 2 is coming, so on and so on. So the only thing I think we didn't really talk much about, we talked a little bit about it earlier in this episode, but in the last episode, is who we know for sure is going to be back for season 2. And so far, we've got Dr. Robbie, Dr. Langdon, Whitaker, Javati, Santos, Abbott, King, Dr. Ellis, Dr. Garcia, Mohan, and Dana are all confirmed for season 2.
That's awesome. And I really hate, and I know she just came in at the end, but man, I wish I had mentioned more about Dr. Ellis when we were talking about favorite character moments. She was great. So glad she's coming back.
Yeah. All right. Well, unless you have anything else to add on show notes and news, we're going to move on into feedback. We got some really great thoughts from y'all on this one. So, Mandy, you want to start us off?
Mm-hmm. Via the Pitt's Reddit page, Loser Baby. Hey, Loser. I love how the Pitt feels old school TV. More episodes than the typical streaming show and 1 episode per week release schedule. I tuned in for Noah Wyle, but ended up with a pack of new favorite actors.
Amen.
Mm-hmm. The Pitt fandom goes beyond watching the show. I enjoy seeing the social media posts and behind the scenes footage from the cast. There seems to be a sincere camaraderie between the cast and crew that has been a treat to watch. Yeah, we agree. I don't want to get too far off, but I want to tell you, like, one of the things that we've reiterated over and over again to Carly and anybody that comes on is we love talking to, and we would love to have the craft services people, anybody. Like
everyone is important to us when it comes to the show.
And I think that's one of the things that we caught early on, that it seems very much like they created an environment where everybody was given 110% because they were treated with value and respect, no matter what your job was. So we picked up on that too, Liza. My favorite elements of the show are the light it shines on the intensely difficult job healthcare professionals do, particularly in the wake of COVID. The emphasis on empathy for all the good and bad qualities and behaviors of the characters is another favorite aspect of the show. Finally, the representation of diversity that felt true and natural is something that is so important.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. We agree. I could just go on forever, but to conclude, I just want to give a shout out to the whole cast. In particular, I was completely engrossed and engaged by Issa Briones and Taylor Dearden. Agreed. Yeah, awesome.
Mm-hmm.
2 good choices. I could watch them read a phone book and be riveted. Yeah. Looking so forward to season 2. Love the podcast and can't wait to hear the recap episode.
Oh, thank you, Loser Baby, for being with us on this ride and your amazing feedback. I'm glad you found us, and we can't wait to.
Yeah, you've really helped us up our game. You know,
for sure.
Feedback that you and several of our other regular commenters has really helped to make this a better podcast, and we appreciate it.
Yeah. So via the Pit with Noah Wiley on Max fan page on Facebook.
It's so much to say.
So much to say about this. So I posted on the fan page our feedback episode, and I got a comment from someone named Jeanette O'Connor that said, don't forget to mention all of the makeup and hair special effects makeup masters who work their butts off, and of course the best crew ever. And I got to thinking that name sounds familiar. And then I noticed there was a picture attached. Y'all, we got feedback from Myrna. Jeanette O'Connor is Myrna.
We love you, Jeanette. You are, obviously, if you're listening to this, you know that we are 2 of the biggest fans you will ever have in your life.
For real. And we're not alone. There are so many of our listeners that part of their favorite feedbacks were about Myrna. And I have reached out to Jeanette to see if she would be interested in coming on the show and coming on the podcast for an interview. And she said yes. So I don't have anything specific set yet. So hopefully it will come to fruition and we can make it work because both of us have so many questions. So thank you so much, Jeanette, for commenting.
You have, like, when Becky called me to tell me that she got Myrna to engage back with us and agree to come on and do an interview, I don't think in 25 years I've ever heard you so excited about anything in your life. Like,
Mandy was out with her family and I called her and she didn't answer. And I immediately texted her and I was like, I know you're with your family right now, but I need you to call me because I have something to say and I don't want to wait.
and I was so glad I did, because that was some of the best news I've ever heard. I'm so excited. And I want to stop here and say, how much cooler is it even that she took her precious time to shout out the makeup and the hair and special effects people?
I know.
You know, she didn't say a word about herself or any of the actors who do get accolades and have all of the attention and talk on them, but she took that time to call out the crew. Class act, Jeanette. You're making me fall more and more in love with you, everything I learn about you.
And I will say, thanks to Ambar, we are working on getting an interview with a couple of the makeup artists for the show. So we're hopefully next month we can make this work. I don't know for sure yet when, but we are working on that. So,
And also
I did tell Jeanette that was something that was in the works, and she was very excited about that because, like we said, like Mandy said, everyone on this show everyone that's a part of this show is important. So
yeah, and we want to talk to every single one of them. Dottie Shrek says, I liked it from the first episode, but by the season's end, I miss it. Yeah.
I miss it too. I didn't realize how much I would, but I really do miss it.
Yeah.
Via our What's On Tonight Facebook feedback post, Maureen Wilson wrote, I hope we learn more about Dr. Robbie. Who is he away from the ER? So that's her hopes for season 2. And I would love to see more of his outside life as well.
Yeah, hopefully we'll at least learn that he's got a therapist and that he's done some work to try to help his own mental health, because, man, that man needs a break.
He does. And I will say, before you move into our next feedback, I have not received an offer to be on season 2 as Noah Wiley's love interest, but I'm pretty sure it's got to be coming any day. Right. Yeah. So I think that is a hope I'm going to add that to my hope for season 2.
Same.
I am Dr. Robbie's love interest, I should say, on the Pitt.
Oh, Dr. Collins is not going to like that, but
I'm not worried about it.
Yeah. Sorry, Tracy.
Go date hot cop, Dr. Collins.
That is an option for her.
Yes. Or hot fingertip missing guy. I'm
going to go back and add one of my favorite hindsight things is how many times Dr. Collins got hit on throughout the course of the show. It was a lot.
It was.
Via our Instagram feedback post, Callie Yalia, I'm sorry, Callie, I want to make sure I get your name right. Callie Yalia said, season 1 was just incredible. I loved it. It was something really special, and I hope the show is able to run for many, many more years. When it comes to season 2, I feel like season 1 gave us so many avenues to explore, and that was absolutely done on purpose. I really like to think that the writers wanted to keep their options open in regards to the direction to go forward with which storylines to rotate through. With what we know about the next season and the time skip and setting, Langdon's first day back, there are a few things I would love to see explored. Langdon and Garcia absolutely have some sort of history. What's up with that? Will their dynamic change after Langdon's rehab journey? Did Garcia ever have any feelings that something was up? How close were they? Did they both go to school together, intern together? Were they a quote unquote thing?
I felt like there was some kind of flirty chemistry when I went back and did the rewatch. I'm not saying they're in love with each other, but I think they might have boned at some point in the past.
I got more like the vibe of maybe they were interns together.
I did the first time. The second time,
I'll look for that the next time I'm watching it, because I didn't see that at all. But I'll go back and I'll pay attention to that. Maybe I missed something. And then she goes on to say, it's July 4th and Abbott's a vet. How would this affect him? Oh, that's a good point. I do hope that they go into that. Would he be working overtime, staying home? How would that impact his ability to cope through the traumas coming in that day? And then she says, sweet Javati, how did that first day change her? Did it make her more determined? Did it make her want to ditch being a doctor even more? How much more confident is she now that she's been through the MCI and had more experience under her belt? And then she says, Mohan, has Mohan started to explore who she is outside of her role as a doctor? Will we see any further possible romances? And then she has like 2 little looking eye emojis.
I love that emoji.
It's very cute. McKay, I just want more of everything with her. Yep, same. And perhaps a possible real breakthrough with a patient. I think she's such a beautiful balance of both Santos and Mohan that she deserves that one moment where it's obvious that she breaks through to someone, perhaps a parallel to the possible trafficking victim this season. Also, in general, I can't wait for all the wacky firework and festive injuries you could get into. Lots of hand traumas, I assume. Something up the butt? Maybe.
Oh, yes. That is the most amazing sentence.
Something up the butt? Maybe.
I mean, why not? It is the Pitt.
Oh, Lord. Oh, that's funny.
She does add, that being said, and pivoting over to my feelings to season 1, I have 2 things that have been sitting with me. One very flippant and another massive disappointment, and the only critique I've had about the show. Firstly, the dog in the hospital thing. Funny for the bit. Unfortunately, accurate misinformation when you think about how most people understand emotional support animals. But as a service dog handler, my stomach dropped. I'm tired of the ESA service dog misinformation and jokes and shows. Well, that first, I never thought about it that way. I could see how, because some people say they're a service animal when they're not. And could imagine that if that's what you do for a living, is working with these animals and these people who genuinely do need them with them. I didn't think about that. I could see how that could be
very frustrating.
Yeah. So, but cool job. Cool what you do. I think that's very cool.
Hey, this first service dog training center in the United States was right here in Nashville in 1929.
Very cool.
Yeah,
well, look, we did something right.
Yeah.
We're screwing everything up now.
We used to be a good place.
All right. And the biggest thing I've been battling with, Dr. Abbott as an amputee. I feel like the reveal was ... lackluster. And I say this because it's treated as a grand surprise, like, wow, he's disabled but can still do things. It's not surprising if you value disabled people as people and disability as something that is neutral. Additionally, I feel like it doesn't, Winky Fingers, add anything to his character. Not enough to justify making him an amputee and going through the lengths of Winky Fingers getting a prosthetic and doing CGI. If it was, then why not hire a disabled actor? I just think it was in poor taste and it was incredibly disappointing. Even more so when seeing that production knew it could come across a certain way if Sean played up a limp for the character and that it's used in a Winky Fingers, well, this doesn't define him sort of way. Okay. I feel like I don't agree with all of that.
Yeah, I don't see it that way. I see where she's coming from
that way, but I do 100% see your point for sure.
Yeah, I didn't feel like it was what we always call a very special episode moment. That one, but again, hey, and I'm going to say this, and remember that Becky and I see that whole rooftop scene very differently. So art is subjective, and people can see things different ways.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't see it as a condescending type of even disabled people can be useful. I thought it was more of I do think part of it was this doesn't define him, but I thought that it was more in my mind to explain that he had probably been in combat, or he'd said he was a medic, and that it was just more about some of the things that maybe led him to that rooftop in the first episode. Like it just was like, he's been through things. I didn't really feel like they were trying to make it about him being capable, even though he had this injury. I just thought it was more about that this is another part of his story of just the things that he's gone through and done in his life.
Yeah, very much like Taylor Dearden being neurodivergent. Mm-hmm. And it just, there were things about it that they did show us in the show, but it just added to who she is as a character.
Yeah,
that's how I saw That's how I saw the amputee thing. But I do see your point 100%.
Yeah.
See where you're coming from and how that could be.
And that's not a cop out. I mean, you train service animals. I'm assuming that you probably have quite a bit more experience with people with disabilities than Becky and
Mhm.
I, either one of us do. And so maybe that's our own bias showing. But that's
Yeah.
not what I got from it. I didn't get that they were throwing that in as just a condescending, very special moment type of deal. I think that your analogy with Taylor Dearden's neurodivergence was apt. To me, it was just what this show does is it gives you little moments that you see more about who these people are outside of the hospital, and they do that in a way that doesn't become the entire storyline, and that's just all I felt like.
Yeah. Thank you, Kaylee Aaliyah. I still don't know if we're saying that right, but I hope we are.
Yeah.
You are another one who found us and have provided some like this amazing feedback, and we hope you'll stick with us.
Yeah, for sure. Evil Twin Podcast said, my thoughts are that someone needs to lock the damn door to the rooftop of that hospital. Amen.
I want to give a shout out to Evil Twin Podcast. They started following us on Instagram, and I thought the name was really fun, and so I went to look. I just nosy had to look and see what they were about, and I believe it. Sorry, I'm blanking. A lawyer and a nurse, I believe, two friends that like Mandy and I, who they too cover the pit, and they are a riot.
Oh, I gotta go check them out.
I only found four. I've only seen 4 episodes so far, but if I'm not mistaken, their next podcast is going to be, I think, a fan fiction, the Pit fan fiction episode. I hope I saw that right. But either way, please go check out Evil Twin Podcast if you're looking for something new to listen to while the Pit's on hiatus. They've got new content coming out about the show, past episodes this season, and it's great. They're so funny.
Yeah,
So
that's
check them
awesome.
out.
I gotta go look at that. They're funny. I can totally agree. You think Gloria would have a padlock on that damn door up there?
For sure.
We received a little bit of feedback on our interviews with Crystal and Supriya. On Crystal's interview via YouTube, Linda went 1541. Hey, Linda.
Hey,
Said,
girl.
I really enjoy this. She seemed like a wonderful person. Man, she was, Linda.
Oh,
She was.
I want to just reach through that screen and hug her at the end of that.
A special lady, a really sweet person, very smart, very, very compassionate, very concerned with other people in the rest of the world and justice and all of that. And yeah, I'm glad that came through in the interview because she really was awesome.
On our interview with Supriya via the Pitt Reddit page, this made me laugh, at Slayer of the Mindset just simply said, she's hot. I agree. She's beautiful.
She's a beautiful woman.
Yeah, and via YouTube at Linda1541 said, great interview with the heart emoji. And Linda's another one. And Maureen, thank you all for your just consistent feedback and being with us. Just we love y'all, and thank you.
You did, yeah. You've really helped us up our game, and we can't thank you enough. We really do appreciate the time that you've taken out to share your thoughts with us. It's made this a better podcast in every way.
Every one of you who have written in, just thanks for taking the time. It means a lot.
Yeah.
As always, a big thank you to Carly and the Pitt fan page, The Pit with Noah Wiley on Max, and the Reddit page, The Pit, for providing so much amazing content, allowing us to post our episodes and such on your pages. And gigantic thanks to Carly for being our champion and helping us get in touch with so many amazing people. And we are working on getting an interview with Carly scheduled sometime in the next few months. So we'll hope to hear more from her about how she got going with her fan page.
She's great.
She is. We will post links to all of these pages in our show notes, so please show them some love. If you would like to get in touch with us, leave some feedback, or just say hey, You can email or send us a voice message as an attachment to what's on tonight 2 at gmail.com. And that's what's on tonight, the number 2 at gmail.com. You can visit our Facebook page where there will always be a post for every episode. You can leave feedback in the comment section or send us a message through Facebook Messenger. And we can be found on Instagram as well at What's On Tonight Podcast and the number 2. We would greatly appreciate it if you'd leave a review, comment, like, and or share on your podcast listening app of choice. And something I do want to mention is when you all are looking for What's On Tonight on Spotify, we are under Pirate Core Entertainment. We will still be under Pirate Core Entertainment, but on Spotify, you can also find us directly on our own page, What's On Tonight Podcast. So we'll start uploading episodes to both places. So just a note that that's very exciting. Our mentor Mark showed me how to create the page on Spotify, and so now we'll be there as well. All right, let's talk about podcast recommendations, good TV or movies, or anything else we want to share. Mandy?
Well, first I want to talk about an opportunity that I had that you reached out to me for, and I'm really enjoying. There is a podcast that covers the TV show Poker Face with Penny and Jason on Podcastica. And you and I just sat down with Penny and recorded the first episode for season 2 of Poker Face. Check out the podcast. Also, if you don't watch Poker Face, please do yourself a favor and check it out. Natasha Lyonne is a genius. Ryan Johnson is a genius. The two of them together, it is absolutely one of the best shows that I think I have ever seen in my entire life. It's so smart. It's so funny. It's so creative. It's different every single week. It's almost like you're watching a different TV show every single week. So I really would like it if you guys check out the podcast, but also check out the show. And also I want to mention my other podcast, Dinner for Her. I have recorded the 4th episode that I am trying to get edited and get posted. It should be out this coming up Friday. It was supposed to be out last Friday, but ran into some technical difficulties, and I'm just trying not to stress myself out too much about getting sidetracked from my own schedule, but it's all good. And I think that if you enjoy learning more about amazing women, you will really, really like the show. So please go and check that out. And that's all I got.
It's really cool. As far as podcast recommendations, there's a podcast called Run for Your Lives on podcastica.com. And the wonderful Daphne and Paige, and they just covered the classic horror movie Children of the Corn, which is one of the few horror movies I can still watch and not lose my mind. But they did great coverage on
what an odd one for you to pick up. That
I know.
Okay with that one, because that's kind of violent.
It's very violent,
it's still
but
pretty scary.
I loved it then, and I watched it again this past Halloween.
It's a good one still.
Of course, I could only watch it during the day.
Well, sure.
You know me. I can only watch creepy stuff during the day, lights on, and preferably when my husband's home.
Yeah.
I don't like to watch stuff at night. But their coverage was so good. And the Run for Your Lives podcast, that's what they do, is they cover the whole horror genre. They cover new movies, classic movies. So if you are a big fan of the horror world, give them a try. You can find them on podcastica.com. And there's a lot of other great stuff on podcastica.com. As far as TV shows, I recommend everyone watch the final season of You. I didn't know what to expect because sometimes that show makes me a little crazy. But Madeline Brewer from The Handmaid's Tale is the heroine in this season, and she killed it. Oh God, it was so good. So check it out.
My mom really liked that. I want to go back a little bit because I did fail to mention the name of the podcast that Penny and Jason host that we were on. It's the Murder Magnets podcast that you can find on Podcastica. That is where Becky and I guested this week to talk about Poker Face.
It was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. Penny's a very smart lady. She's very funny. We had a great breakdown. Spoiler alert, I'll just tell you, we get a little bit into what we all plan to do when we pass away, and it got pretty hilarious there.
It got very hilarious. Even my husband was laughing when I was listening to it in the car today. A big thank you to Mark and Pirate Core Entertainment for giving us this platform. Please visit the Pirate Core website. It can be found on our Facebook page. There you can find our podcast as well as Dinner for Her with our very own Mandy. And there's also a lot of other projects Mark is working on. He's got the Pirate Core Music podcast. And then Mark and Rob just covered The Accountant 2 with Ben Affleck and John Barenthal. And I love John Barenthal, so I'm very excited to get to see this one. And you can find that on Adrenaline Cinema podcast. And please also check out Panels to Pixels coverage of Daredevil Reborn.
Well, that is it for our coverage of season 1 of The Pitt. We are working on getting more cast and crew interviews set up, as we told you. So keep an eye out for those. We'll be back to cover season 2 of The Pitt when it returns. And as for what's next, we're very excited to share with you that we will be covering The Better Sister, starring Jessica Biel and Elizabeth Banks, 2 phenomenal actresses.
Amazing. So The Better Sister is an 8-episode electric thriller about the terrible things that drive sisters apart and ultimately bring them back together. Chloe, played by Biel, is a high-profile media executive and lives a picturesque life with her handsome lawyer husband Adam and teenage son Ethan by her side, while her estranged sister Nikki, played by Elizabeth Banks, struggles to make ends meet and stay clean. When Adam is brutally murdered, the prime suspect sends shockwaves through the family, reuniting the 2 sisters as they try to untangle a complicated family history to discover the truth behind his death. I'm so excited for this.
Me too. The Better Sister series premiere Thursday, May 29th on Prime Video. We are really excited for this one, and we hope you all check it out and join us for the coverage.
Yes, please. Well, we want to thank everyone for listening. This season with y'all covering The Pitt has been an amazing ride, and we hope you will stick with us for the next show, The Better Sister. So be kind whenever possible. It's always possible and always needed. So please take time to be nice to one another.
Becky always has such nice words to leave us on, and I usually don't speak up here, but I actually read something in a book this week that I am going to take with me, and it was that everything's going to be fine in the end, and if it's not fine, it's not the end.
Oh, I love that.
Me too. It really spoke to me. Yeah, if you're going through it, just keep going through it because it will end eventually and everything will work out.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, I'm Becky.
And I'm still Mandy.
We'll catch you in a few weeks when we grab the remote and see what's on tonight. Bye.
The Pitties.
Myrna.